You've seen them, right? Those crazy headlines that pop up on your feed. NASA issues urgent warning, planet killer asteroid hurtling towards Earth. It's the kind of stuff that goes viral in a heartbeat, and honestly, it can be pretty terrifying. So let's take a breath, dive in, and figure out what's really going on up there.
And this is one of the big ones you might have seen, a claim that there's a 72% chance of a catastrophic impact. I mean, wow, that is a shockingly high number. It's more than enough to make anyone stop and feel a little nervous.
So that's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? Should we all be heading for the bunkers, or is there maybe another side of this story? Well, that's what we're going to do right now. We are going to separate the hard scientific fact from all that social media fiction.
All right, first things first. Let's jump right in and tackle these viral threats head-on. We're going to look at some of the biggest claims out there and see how they actually stack up against what the real space agencies are saying.
Okay, let's start with that planet killer asteroid with a 72% chance of hitting us in 2038. What's the real story? Well, the truth is, it was a drill. It was all a test. This wasn't a real prediction at all. It was a hypothetical scenario that NASA cooked up. Think of it like a fire drill for the whole planet. They brought together a bunch of experts to figure out what we would do if we ever found a threat like that. That 72% number? It was just a made-up part of the game. Oh, and then there's the infamous Apophis, the so-called God of Chaos asteroid. Now this one was a big deal. When scientists first spotted it back in 2004, their initial math gave it a 2.7% chance of hitting us in 2029. And that, understandably, caused a huge stir. But, and this is the important part, as they kept watching it year after year, their observations got more and more precise. And today, the impact risk is zero. It's going to sail safely past us, and NASA's confident it won't be a threat for at least another century. Okay, so to really get a grip on all this, it helps to kind of speak the language, to understand what scientists are actually talking about. So let's quickly break down some of the key terms for these near-Earth objects, or NEOs for short. So you've got two main players up there, asteroids and comets. Asteroids are basically these big chunks of rock and metal, mostly hanging out in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Comets, on the other hand, are more like, well, dirty snowballs. They're a mix of ice, rock, and dust, and they come from way, way out past Neptune. Now here's the key difference when it comes to danger. Comets move a lot faster, and because they come from so far away, they can sometimes appear with a lot less warning time.
And what about all those other M words you hear all the time? It's actually super simple. A meteoroid is just a small piece of rock floating around in space. When it hits our atmosphere and burns up, creating that beautiful streak of light, that's a meteor, a shooting star. And if a piece of it actually survives the fiery journey and lands on the ground, boom, we call that a meteorite. Simple as that.
Right, so if we can't trust the viral headlines, how do we actually know what's dangerous? Who's keeping watch? Let's take a look at the real systems that are scanning the skies for us 24/7.
Here's the thing. Instead of relying on some random social media post, you can go right to the source. See, space agencies like the European Space Agency maintain a public risk list. It's updated in real time, and it tracks every single known object that has even a tiny, non-zero chance of hitting us. This is where the real, hard data lives.
So what's actually on this list? What are the current top threats? Well, the object with the highest probability right now is pretty small. We're talking maybe the size of a bus. It would most likely cause a big airburst, kind of like that meteor over Chelyabinsk, Russia back in 2013. Now the really big one on the list, 1979 XB, the chances of that one actually hitting us are, well, they're astronomically small.
I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. 0.00002%. That's the probability for the largest object currently posing any kind of calculated risk. When you see the actual numbers, you really start to understand why scientists aren't panicking.
And how do we even find these things in the first place? Well, we have this incredible global network of watchful eyes. Think of it as a planetary protection team. You've got projects like Linear, which discovers about 65% of all new asteroids. Then there's the Catalina Sky Survey. It's so precise it once actually predicted an impact over Sudan just 19 hours before it happened. And systems like Atlas are our last alert system, scanning the entire sky twice every single night just in case. Okay, so finding them is one thing, but what if? What if we find one that's actually on a collision course? What can we do? Well, this is where it gets really cool. This brings us to Earth's active defense plan. We basically have a three-part playbook for stopping an asteroid. Plan A, and the most tested method, is the kinetic impactor. It's pretty much what it sounds like. We hit the asteroid with a high-speed spacecraft to give it a little nudge and push it off course. Plan B involves slow push or pull methods, where we use a nearby spacecraft's gravity to gently tug the asteroid into a safer path over time. And then there's Plan C, the nuclear option, a total last resort for a truly massive threat.
And here's the absolute best part. We know Plan A works. This isn't just science fiction theory. On September 26, 2022, NASA's DART mission did exactly this. They smashed a spacecraft into an asteroid called Dimorphos. Now, it was never a threat to us, this was purely a test. And it was a massive success. We proved for the first time that humanity has the technology to physically change an asteroid's path in space. So, let's circle all the way back to that NASA exercise that sparked all the fake news. What was the actual takeaway? Well, after running through the whole doomsday scenario, a whopping 81% of the international experts involved said they believe we are ready to deal with a threat like that. Sure, there are always some gaps to address, but the overall confidence is incredibly high. So, let's boil this all down. What's the bottom line here? First, no known large asteroid poses a significant threat for at least the next 100 years, period. Second, our detection systems are powerful and they're getting better every single day. And third, and this is the big one, we have an actual defense plan and we've already proven that it works. All of this really leaves us with one final thought. We have brilliant people and amazing technology working around the clock to keep us safe from cosmic threats. So, when you really think about it, what's the bigger threat? The rocks hurtling through space or the misinformation hurtling across our screens? Something to think about.